Guys, so appreciate you guys coming by for today's shave. Today we're drinking a little naked juice. You know, I love this stuff, but man, it's not cheap. This little bottle is like $3 something, but man, is it good. And it's all like vegetables and juice. This one's just juice. But yeah, man, they're great. And they're, again, all natural, which is why I like them a lot. But they are a little pricey. But anyways, so on my last few videos, we've been doing a Forget theme. So today we're done with that Forget theme. And again, I hope the lighting's not too bad. In here, I don't have any of the lights on in my RV. I don't know if it would really help with the lighting, to be honest. Again, where I'm at in the RV, it's not really too bad of a gloomy day today like it was in my last video. But even when it's kind of sunny out, I don't get a whole lot of sun necessarily always, depending on the time of day, in my RV, because I am parked under a couple trees. So, you know, those block out a lot of the sun. So I don't get a lot of natural light in these windows to kind of brighten up these videos. And I'm videotaping on an iPhone 8, so it's only going to be so good. But for today, I think I'm going to be using this for the next couple days. I do have a backup tub of this, and this one's very low. I bought it used, and it was really low. And what I'll probably do is try to use it for the next few days. Maybe a little longer, maybe a little less, I don't know. And I'm thinking about scraping it out and transferring it to my backup tub because it's, again, it's pretty low. It's low enough to where I could probably fit it in my backup tub. And that just gets rid of another tub, right, is the way I look at it. But that's going to be Zingari Man, NO1, number 1. And, oh man, it's such a great rose scent. You can see it by the label. The label is kind of like a holographic. Again, this tub is really old, so the label is not in the best condition. And the perfumer is by Ron. You can see it there. And it's great. I have the matching splash. Again, bottle is not in the best condition. I bought this set used. And you can see it's already pretty, a lot of it is gone, but it's still quite a bit. Splashes last forever. Like, I feel like you can go 2 to 3 tubs of soap for one splash. And again, I think eventually I'm going to transition to not buy matching splashes. One, again, I've said in my other video, it saves money, which isn't really the biggest factor for me, but it saves space. But I don't know, sometimes, man, it just is nice to have that extra little bit of scent boost from the splash after the soap. So it's kind of a hard choice, right? It is nice and creamy, just like every other Zingari Man splash I have used is, I can't think of any one that I've used that isn't. I do have the tub blooming over here, and as you can see, it's a little high on this side, but then you can see how low it slopes to on this side. So it's, yeah, we got quite a bit used. I do have blooming because it's not like a triple milled hard, but it's hard enough to where when you try to stick your finger in it, you can't do it easily. And again, I like to bloom all my soaps just because right now I can smell this beautiful rose scent in my RV. But I also really enjoy doing it with soaps that I can't stick my finger into it and make a mark very easily, because it just makes the experience better to me. It makes it easier to manipulate that soap. It makes loading a little easier and more enjoyable, right? We're still on the 1966 Gillette Slim Razor. We were using that Voskhod blade. I threw that away after the last shave. And now we're on a Wizamet first use. We're going to go with a setting 6 to start off. And we're going to see how that kind of goes. I do have a day's worth of growth on top of that dome. And today I am going to do a side-by-side. brush comparison, because I've been wanting to do this comparison anyways, and like I said, I'm trying to kind of get the soap down a little bit more, enough to where I can transfer it into the backup tub, just to get rid of another tub that's in my backup drawer. So the two brushes, the first one I just took it out of this soaking bowl cup, and that's going to be this gorgeous chisel and hound handle. Beautiful wood with a beautiful, I'm not sure what type of wood that is, but another style of wood as an inlay on the sides. Gorgeous. And that blue, it's not going to come through nearly as gorgeous as it does on my side, but man, this blue, it is phenomenal. Like, it reminds me a lot of Star Spangled Blue from Decoration Grooming. I don't have a Star Spangled Blue, so I can't compare them side by side, but from pictures, I would say it's right on the money of that, and I love that blue. The only other blue I've had that I've thought was phenomenal besides this one is from Decoration Grooming's POTUS, Pearl of the Stars. And that's a gorgeous, just blue with sparkles, and this is just gorgeous blue. Love this. The knot in it is from Turn and Shave. It's his new hair knot called BoBa. So BoBa being boar and badger. So there's boar hair and badger hair in this, and he can do different variants of it. This one is a standard, which is 75-25. 75% of this knot is going to be badger hair, 25% is going to be boar hair. And you could do different variants. You could do 50-50, 30-70. You ask him. He only has one density right now, and that's this one. Personally, to me, it seems like it's somewhere in between a low density and a medium. I feel like it's a little bit more denser than the low density, but I feel like it's maybe a little dense than the medium density of his offering. So that's the first brush. Second brush is going to be, and I talked about it in my last video, this Galaxy Pour M6. And you can see the sparkles right there, how gorgeous that is. And again, it looks even better in person. Most handles do from the brush shaving community. And I'm telling you, this one looks phenomenal. I love the Galaxy Pours when they have like a really good chunks of sparkle like that in them. Like this size has sparkles in it too, which is why I love this handle. But that's a really nice chunk right there. And that is the M6 knot. So medium density, and then there's that sucker. Now the size of the knots might look a little different. They're both 28s, but that's how dense those are. That's how dense that is. So now we're going to go straight into the water with this one. Now again, this one is a BoBa 7. So this has that M7 hair mixed in with the boar hair. So it's 75%. We're going to put this water on the head, just kind of as a nice little starter. Now, it's 75% M7 hair, with that 25% being boar hair. And I've used this already a couple times. I don't think it's fully broken in though. The way a lot of badger hair is treated nowadays, even ones that aren't very jelly, they seem to break in within like 2 or 3 uses because they're already out of the box so soft. But, you know, I think to get a really good idea of what the brush is going to be like, you really need about 20 to 30 uses, give or take. And again, I know that I've had some of these brushes, like this M6, I've used it quite a few times, and it feels great already. So, you know, brushes nowadays aren't like they used to be, where you really did need to use them like 20 to 30 times for the hair tips to start really breaking in and getting soft. Now, these hair tips are just already soft. So, it kind of goes to show where the hobby is going as far as knot making and hair production. And this is already like plenty of loaded. And we're just going to knock that out. And then again there. That's wet. Again, very low gel on both of these. They both dry, soft to the touch. Neither of them dries crispy, and that's to me how you can kind of tell how much gel is in a knot these days. Is if it dries really crunchy, that means it's been really heavily treated. And the reason why it's been heavily treated is to make those hairs softer. And again, I think that's going to be plenty. So let's take out the lather. And the lather's already looking great. Because it's Zingari Sago, I already know that this is going to be very slick, very great feeling on my dome. Now I'm just going to wash it out real quick. Get some of this stuff off the hands. And I've already done a couple comparisons of the M7 compared to the M6 hair. They're very similar in a lot of ways. But what I've been curious is, how does the BoBa 7 feel? You know, cloud-likeness, how does it feel with the backbone / display compared to my M6? So here we go. And right off the bat, I can already tell you, like, this thing splays really nicely. It does have like a little spring to it. The loft on this one is set at like 49, I think, ish. The loft on this one is set at like 51-ish. And so far, this is pretty ideal of what I like my knots to have as characteristics. Is it paints really nice, has good flow through, which means like when I paint like that the hairs can flow really well, right? There's not like a lot of resistance. It splays nicely, but not too nicely. Some brushes I've had, they splay really nice, but then there's not that nice soft backbone there. And I like that soft backbone feel. I don't like heavy backbone. You know, I don't mind having one brush maybe with some heavy backbone just as a variant. But I don't really like super heavy backbone. I don't like also floppy. I like kind of like an in-between. And this is great. Yeah, it's working great. Now let's go to this one. I am going to put just a little bit of water in this one. And this one, I can already tell it is denser. I can feel it feels denser to me already just by how the hair is packed and how it is splaying out on my dome. This one does feel like it has a maybe Yeah, I wouldn't say it has necessarily more splay or that it's harder to splay, but it's just more dense. And when you have more dense, you get that more of that kind of wall of badger hair feel. The M7 hair, man, what it's interesting to me about it compared to the M6 is that it's so soft and it feels quite a bit, it feels jelly. Like, because it has that cloudness to it. And what's interesting about that is it reminds me a lot of batch M4 hair from TNS, which is really jelly. Or almost it reminds me of like B14 hair from Decoration Grooming, which is also pretty jelly. Both dry, crispy to the touch. But what's interesting is this isn't gelled, but the hairs are very similar. Like the tips are just super soft, but with no gel. So that's really interesting. Where this is good too. This definitely has a little bit more of a soft scrub to it, I would say. A little bit more of tip presence. And I've said it before, M6 out the gate does have a lot of tip presence. It does, man, that's just so much lather. It does start to lessen the more you use it. I don't know if it'll ever completely go away. And I like it. It's something a little different, right? And I like it because it's that soft scrub feel. So it's almost like you're kind of getting like an exfoliant in there, right? Where this, it's just like pure luxury, very soft, like no. There is a slight scrub when you push down in that center, and that could be partially of the boar hair, maybe. But if I didn't know there was boar hair in here at the 75-25 mark, I wouldn't know there's boar hair in here. The boar hair is that soft. So I think that's pretty good. Look at that, man. Tons of lather. And there is that soap puck. Again, even with it being wet as it is, it takes a lot of force for that barely to get any pressure in there. We're just going to wet the blade. Again, we're at setting 6 with Wizamet. First use. I do think batch 5 hair is really nice from Turn and Shave, to be honest. It's not my top 3 favorite of his, but he's now on batch 8. So he has 8 batches, and I've tried all 7. I haven't tried 8 yet, but I've tried M1, I tried M2, I tried M3, I tried M4, M5, M6, M7. I still have an M1. I sold my M2. I still have a couple L3s. I have an H4, so I still have one of the 4. I have quite a few of the 5s. I only have one of the 6, and I have the BoBa, which is a 7. I have my H7 that I used the other day in a video, and I have the custom coming in that is also a 7. So I have quite a few of Milton's brushes and quite a few of different of his batches and quite a few different densities in similar batches. And I gotta say, I do like Milton. right now, he might be my favorite hand-tied brush maker, to be honest. You know, off the top of my head, the other brush makers that I can think of is Declaration Grooming. And this is that make hand-tied knots, right? Because there are a lot of good other artisans out there, but they don't make hand-tied knots, like Chisel and Hound, like Trotter, like Grizzly Bay. But I'm talking about people who actually hand-tie that hair themselves. Is Turn and Shave, Declaration Grooming, Varlet, the other two that I can think of that is in the States, but I have not tried them, is Long Shaves. I think they do hand-tied knots. I haven't tried them, though. And Prometheus. And what I will say is, like with Prometheus, I was interested in trying not only one of his hand-tied knots, but he has a couple interesting pours that I wanted to try. One of them being his, it's like called a rainbow pour, and it's just the colors of the rainbow in a brush. And I messaged him, and he told me he was busy, but he would start working on the brush. But it won't be fast, just because he's so busy. And I said, oh yeah, you know, no problem. I'm not in any kind of rush. And, you know, I'm not, because I have so many brushes. But I do like communication. So when somebody tells me that, I expect that you're starting my brush. And then I expect that you're going to communicate updates with me during that process. So we're going to jump down to a setting 5 on this next one. And see, again, I'm having to use this towel. Like, I love this Gillette, the looks of it. It's been shaving really good, but I've been using Flawless, like my favorite soap bases this week with the Gillette. You know, I'm not saying that other soap bases I have are garbage, but we're talking about, like, out of 100 different soaps I have, like, I've been using the most exceptional bases that I own. So I've been giving this thing, like, every chance it has to shine. And it's been shaving really good. Like, that first pass, not bad. It wasn't super smooth, but it got the job done. But I hate that I still have to use a towel to adjust it. But we're going for round 2 now. But yeah, he told me that, and then I've never gotten any updates from him again. And, ooh, look at that. M6. One hair down. And I decided not to hit him back up about it because with just how many brush makers there are and how many brushes I have, I've started to come to the conclusion that, like, I shouldn't have to chase your business, even in such a small hobby as wet shaving. You know, I'm a guy that I'm gonna spend some dollars. Like, I don't mind spending some money, and I will give your business some good business. Like, one, you know, if I like the product, I'm going to share it on my social media platforms, right? So that's going to get you more business. 2, I'm a guy that has quite a few brushes, and I don't mind buying more. You know, like, one good example is when I heard that that M5 hair was good from Milton at Turn and Shave, I went out and bought 2 H's, a medium, and a low density all at the same time. 4 brushes on one drop. Like, that's a good chunk of change that went into his pocket for, you know, good quality work. And I'm willing to do that. But I shouldn't have to chase you, like, and mind you, like, when I talked to Prometheus, this was like last year. It's been almost a year and I haven't heard anything. Like, so yeah, I'm kind of over him. And then across the seas for hand tires, we have Voigt and Kopp VNC, which I have 2 of his brushes. Fucking phenomenal. He's out of Italy. His prices are really affordable. Like they're on par with Turn and Shave. They're cheaper than Declaration Grooming and Varlet, and the quality is insane on them. And then you have Janik over there in Germany at Wald. And he hand ties Badger, but he's been out of it for a little bit. And he's been just doing his A1 synthetic knots, which I think the A1 synthetic knot is the best synthetic I've ever used in my life. So much so that I have 2 of them. Yeah, batch M7 hair, even with 25% Badger in it, it's just pure luxury, man, on the head. It's a cloud. And then when you press it in, it has this little bit of soft scrub to it. And again, I think that's more the Badger, because I don't really think I feel that with my H7. But that is beautiful. Where this, it's also really nice. But yeah, this definitely has a much more slight scrub softness to it. And the M density is definitely more dense than the BoBa knot, for sure. Alright, that's great. So we're going straight to round 2. And I think that's it for hand tires that I know of. I mean, I'm sure there's others out there, because I'm sure there's quite a few brush makers that I've never tried or even heard of that just aren't very popular in the shaving circles that I'm in. And I think that's like, you know, it's what I call an echo chamber. And it's like that in any hobby. There's, you know, a lot of other people and businesses out there that you'll just never hear about because they're in other countries. They're not very big, so they don't market very well. And that's fine. Right now, I did have a little pimple on the back of my neck that I've been kind of messing with. And it's at the very bottom of my hairline. And it's hard to see, man, in these mirrors. So I don't know if it's an ingrown hair or what, but I was messing with it last night, and I was messing with it this morning. And I was like, oh, I'm going to probably cut it today. And I don't know if I did or not. And I wouldn't mind if I did, to be honest, because if I cut it and it's an ingrown hair, it's going to heal and go away. And again, this Gillette's, it's performing pretty damn nice, man. But I am using the best of the best soaps. And this Zingari, it's a bomb. Bold and banging rose scent. It's great. Like I said, I do have the matching EDP for it just because I liked it that much. If you like rose scents or you're interested in a rose scent, this is a highly favorite of mine, and I do recommend you getting it if you can find it. I don't think anybody would get this and not like it. I've had other rose scents that could be a little bit polarizing for some. You know, one that comes off the top of my head is Grooming Department's rose of pomp. It's great. I like it. But it's very bold. Very, very bold. It has like rose, but then it has like this darkness kind of to it that could be a little polarizing for some, maybe. But this one right here, Zingari, it's a beautiful perfumed rose. And there's different types of roses, right? Like there's the perfuming type of rose, which is this, I think. I've also smelled more of a realistic rose. And then you get like some kind of like the in-betweens. Like a good one too that's an in-between is Noble Otter Two Kings, which it's not made anymore. So if you can find it, I suggest pick it up. And that one is a rose and oud scent, and that one's phenomenal. It's great rose, but you get the oud in there too, so it's a good mixture of the two. Third round, let's go back to this one. Ooh, yeah, we need some agua. Let's get the agua. And I gotta be honest, right now with brush makers, man, like, I do have a lot of brushes, so I'm trying to slow it down. And I'm trying to, you know, start to move some, which I do have. Currently, I just listed 3 for sale. I listed my Declaration Grooming one of my B13s. I have 3, so I was like, okay, it's probably time I get rid of one of them. I listed a Grizzly Bay I have, V17 knot, and it comes with a wooden box. Great handle, man. I love the handle. The knot isn't bad, but it's a little too low on the backbone for me, right? So this, like I said, is ideal. That V17, it feels a little less backbone than this, and this is my ideal position. And then I also listed, again, a great handle. It's from TNZ, and it has his High Mountain White knot in it. And again, the knot is so soft and so great, luxurious wise, but it has a little too low of backbone for me. It's like that V17. I like a little bit more. I like a little bit more spring, right? Like, see how when you push that one down, it kind of springs back. Those two don't have that really great spring back. Great knots, beautiful handles. The reason I've kept them so long is because those 2 handles are so nice. That I keep thinking about sending them to Milton at Turn and Save to have them re-knotted. Especially with this BoBa hair, I keep thinking about sending one for a BoBa knot and doing like a 50-50. But then I tell myself, like, fuck, man, you already have so many brushes. Do you need to keep brushes just so you can get them re-knotted? No, it's probably better to share them with the community so somebody else can enjoy and use them more. We're gonna stay at 5 for that third Against the Grain pass. But back to like the brush makers, I gotta say, man, like, I'm not the one to type of person to talk trash, but I gotta say, like, right now, from what I'm seeing from certain artisans, like, they're not gonna get my business currently. Like, Declaration Grooming, I love my Declaration Grooming knots that I have, and most of them I got used. I have like 24 Declaration Grooming brushes, right? And out of that, I probably bought new maybe 3. For sure 1, 2, for sure 3. I bought a B15 brand new and 2 B16s brand new. Yeah, I think that's it, because the rest of them, I wasn't buying brushes when they were created, so I had to have bought them new. Used, I mean. So here's the thing. I love my Declaration Grooming brushes that I have. But what I've noticed recently with Scott over at Declaration Grooming is a lot of the knots he's been putting out, they don't look good to me. Like, they're not consistent. They're like wonky looking. Like, when I look at Milton's Turn and Shave knot, like, even right here after use, you can see like how nicely presented it is, right? Like, all the hairs are fairly similar. They're all in alignment. You know, if you get really close, there's like one or two that aren't. But for the most part, they're very symmetrical and aligned, right? With the ones I'm seeing from Decoration Grooming lately, they're not. They're just kind of wonky. Some of the knots look a little off kilt to me. Some of the knots have quite a few dark hairs. And you know, that's the thing about buying a hand-tied knot, is it's not made in a factory by a bunch of people, right? It's made by the owner of the business, and they're doing it by hand, right? So they're making sure that, like, they're picking out all those black hairs, because I'm sure, like, when you buy the hair in bulk, it's going to come with black hair in it. But black hairs tend to be more pokey, so you want to pick those out, right? And it just doesn't make the knot look as nice, and that's the presentation portion, right? And I don't mind some black hairs, right? I'll be one of the ones that will say that, and not everybody can say that. Because like B15 from Decoration Grooming, it has black hairs in it. And I love the B15 knot. I'm one of the weird freaks that actually really enjoys that knot. And I've actually been wanting to pull them out to use it. It's been so long since I've used some of my Decoration Grooming brushes that I think in the next like week I'm going to store away my turn and shave brushes and pull out my Decoration Grooming ones. But the knots I've been seeing him put out, they're just not great. And at $400, I just think they should be great looking. And on top of that, his current batch of hair, I've known 2 or 3 people that has it, which is B17 is the current batch. And from talking to these people, is that hair is just trash, man. It's skirchy, it's rough. Even after like 15, 20 uses, it's just not soft. And I'm thinking to myself, like, dude, like, you didn't have to put that hair out. If the hair was that bad, send it back to the company you bought it from, man. Or just throw it away and start over with a new batch of hair. But you shouldn't, and he's still selling it. He's still selling B17, and you can tell that it's not great hair because his brushes aren't selling out like they used to. Like, I used to see his brushes, he'd put them on sale, and within like 3 or 4 hours, they'd all be sold out. Now they're sitting for days and days and days, and then they're finally selling out. But I'm not even sure if they're really selling out, or is he just taking them down to make it seem like they're selling out? I don't know. But that's just not cool. Like, 1, to put out a batch of hair that sucks, right? And then 2, to be putting out a product that's not perfect. I even have seen people where their B17 fell out of the fucking handle when they're using it. Like, that's $400, man. And I think it's because Scott, he had such good batches of hair before and such a big following that he almost thought like he could do no wrong. Like, no matter what I do, people are going to want to spend the money and buy these brushes. And that's not the case anymore, man. Because those people, they all have so many brushes that they're not spending money on brushes like they used to. And then the new people to the regime of the hobby, they're not wanting to spend that much right off the bat. And then when they do, they're finding out they can go with something like Turn and Shave, which his brand new brushes are cheaper than Decoration Grooming by like $70. And they're much more consistent and better looking. So, you know, where are you going to put your money? Are you going to put your money in a $400 brush? Or are you going to put your money into something like this that's $330 that you know is going to be excellent hair? Like, I haven't seen Milton at Turn and Shave put out a bad batch of hair. I will complain that his early batches, like M1, M2, were way too dense. But the hair itself was never bad. I haven't had a batch of hair from Turn and Shave that was bad, and he's on batch 8. Again, I haven't tried batch 8 myself, but that's the difference. So currently I don't trust Decoration Grooming Scott to spend $400 on a brush. Would I buy a used brush in an older batch? Yeah, I probably would still. So right now, for me personally, when it comes to, let's put a little this on the head. When it comes to brushes and where am I spending my money, it's Turn and Shave Milton, because his work is excellent and he communicates. I like it that when I message him, and I don't expect to be messaged right away. I don't even care if it takes you days to message me back. But he does message you back. And he'll answer your questions to the best of his ability. I probably will eventually, when his list opens up again, I probably will get another varlet from Aldo. Even though I have known people that have messaged him and months later still haven't messaged them back. And I just think that's really shitty, which almost makes me not want to do business with him. But I personally haven't messaged Aldo, so I don't know, was that a one-off thing, or is that kind of a consistent thing with Aldo? So I will deal with him once just to see how that is. VNC, I would still 100% deal with them. They're great. They message. It's just you have to use Google Translate because he does not speak English. He speaks Italian. So unless you speak Italian, then you don't have to use Google Translate. I would use Janik from Wald, which actually he's just produced J4 knots, and they sold out within I think he said it was less than 12 minutes he sold out of J4. I will be interested to see how that does, because I heard a lot of complaints about J3. I heard a lot of people love J1 and J2. J3 not so much, and it's been a couple years I think, and now he just produced J4 Badger hair. So I'll be looking forward to see how that goes, and maybe eventually I'll order a J4. But that's really the only ones that I can think of for hand-tied right now that I would deal with is probably the Varlet and Turn and Shave over there at Milton. Now, there are a lot of other brush makers that I would deal with, but they don't hand-tie their own knots. They get them shipped, from China or wherever. Trotter, highly like his stuff. His work is great. Chisel and Hound, Rob, his stuff is great. Grizzly Bay, his stuff is great, and all three are very affordable. But that's a little different of a market, if you ask me, between that and hand-tied. All three of those have really cool handles. The only one out of those three, though, that will do custom handles is Paul at Trotter. Rob and Grizzly Bay, Chisel and Hound, Grizzly Bay don't do customs, from my understanding. So, they do drops, and that's all you can get from them. That was really great. So, recap, and then I'm going to do a cleanup on my beard off camera, I think. Is going to be, we used today the 1966 Gillette Slim. We used it on setting 6 and setting 5 for 3 passes. Wizamet, first use, and it went good. Again, first pass wasn't the smoothest, but it was really nice. But no matter what, every video I've had to use a little freaking towel to adjust, just because the grip on this sucks. Even though it looks like it'd be great, because there's so much knurling on there. We used NO number 1 from Zingari Man. Look at that. Great label, man. Cool holographic. We used the matching splash, which feels great right now. You don't need an aftershave with Zingari Man, but it just kicks up the notch a little bit to me. Our brushes that we were comparing, doing a side-by-side battle, was a BoBa 7, 28mm, in this beautiful Chisel and Hound handle. And see, this is the type of handles you can get from Rob at his drops. I bought this from one of his drops. And you can buy just the handles with them. Trotter, you can buy just the handle. Grizzly Bay, you can buy just the handle. And then if you wanted to, like I did, you can take that handle and you can send it into Milton to get a hand-tied knot. We also used Turn and Shave over there in Milton, his Galaxy M6, which is great. M6 is great hair. M7 is great hair. M7 hair, super luxurious, soft, cloud-like feel. With the BoBa, when you smash it in, there is like a little soft scrub there, but not a whole heck of a lot. With the M6 hair, there is this nice soft scrub to it. If I had to compare it to another batch of hair, M6 reminds me a lot of, I would probably say like B11-ish. Because B11, it's soft, but it does have this nice little like soft scrub to it. And that's why I like B11 and I've kept it. So I think, yeah, I would probably give it somewhere around like a B11. Maybe even, yeah, probably B11. I was going to say B9A or B9A plus, but not so much because those two had a little bit more backbone than this does. So, yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed that video, and I'll catch you guys on the next one.